Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, today is going to be an interesting day. Today we got some news for you, and we're going to cover it in the video. And also later today, is the Game Awards, where assuredly we're going to get a lot of good news. And don't worry, I'll cover it on the channel. And if you're watching this before the Game Awards happens, come watch along with me on the rooflemonger Twitch channel. But that's for later. For right now, we got a few things to talk about, and I figure I just compile it all into one video. So you're looking at some Tokon footage right now. We're going to get to that. But first, let's start with Street Fighter, because something potentially very interesting is going down. So Street Fighter 6 is getting an update on the 16th, and it's a very interesting update, as we're going to be able to change our game HUDs. And not only are we able to change our game HUDs, they're going to be flavored for various Street Fighter games. Now, changing aspects of HUDs, it's been done before, but maybe not on grand scale like this in a fighting game. I'm sure a lot of you all have your favorite Street Fighter, and seeing that game being represented here with the HUD in Street Fighter 6 is probably triggering all sorts of nostalgia for you, which is kind of the point, because all of these, except for one, is going to be for sale. One that is Street Fighter 6 Original, inspired by Lee Fen, that'll be free. The rest of them, we don't know pricing yet, probably a couple bucks. But you know what? For me, the Street Fighter 2 HUD, that's what I grew up with. A couple bucks, yeah, I'll pay that. And then also, I guess there's the ramifications of some of the HUDs make a lot of the elements a lot more readable, depending on how you like your HUD to be. Like the Street Fighter 2 one, very clear contrast on the health bars. I find the drive gauge UI just a little bit more readable. And I see Street Fighter 2 numbers on the health bar, right? So I like that. And man, looking at the Alpha 3 one, seeing the A-ism bars like that, I love that a lot. And it makes me wish there was like sound packs to go with this. Get an announcer here. Beat 'em up, guys. Go for broke. Street Fighter's all about the nostalgia in the end, right? But, besides this announcement, naturally to put out this update, you'd have to patch the game, sure, whatever. But this here hints at the fact there might be a balance patch. It's a blink and you'll miss it moment, but it is here in this video. So after Elena does her level 1 super, she does Scratch Wheel, EX Scratch Wheel afterwards, right? And she gets meter for it. That's not how this works. So here we are, in the current build of the game. And how this works is if you do any follow-ups after your level 1, it does not get any meter at all. Like I did EX Scratch Wheel there. It can be a regular one. It doesn't particularly matter what it is, but any moves you hit after the fact don't get meter. And now, in whatever build this new one will be here on the 16th, she will. Now, does this mean a full-on mega balance patch? Maybe not. You could easily label this as a bug fix that they took a while to get around to. But it's a change. It is not just the same old. We've talked about it in other videos on the channel, but the earliest Alex is coming out is late March, which is a good whiles away. So in terms of content, there's not much content coming out on the Street Fighter front other than this UI change, which is once again very lovely. But it's also been a while since like a balance patch of any significance. And at minimum, even though it's not that big, this Elena change is a balance change. So who knows for sure, but something is happening here on the 16th, besides just, hey, we're going to get some new UIs to play around with. Balance patch, big balance patch, hopefully, that'd be nice. We can definitely shake things up on the Street Fighter front. Even the Season 3 patch itself wasn't that big of a patch, realistically, for an all-new season. So, something new to play around with, changes, mess around with new characters, buff people, maybe nerf someone who needs to be nerfed, like mine. I'm okay with it. But anyway, so I don't know what it is, but we're just pointing it out here. Something's up with this patch, again, coming the 16th of December. Who knows the shape and scale of it, but something is up here. Next up, how about some Soul Calibur news? Yes, Soul Calibur, I didn't misspeak. There's not usually much going on the Soul Calibur front, but now there is. So on December the 16th, which is the same day as the Street Fighter stuff we just talked about, Soul Calibur 3 is coming to PlayStation Network. Specifically, PlayStation Plus Premium, or if you don't have Premium, you can buy it separately for 15 bucks. Now, FYI, this is not like a remaster or a remake or anything like that, but it is the base game with some nice touch-ups. It's going to have some small graphical improvements, some video filters for you to mess around with, and some quality of life stuff like rewind and quick save and all that. So cool. Also, if you like your single player content in fighting games, Soul Calibur 3 might be the single greatest fighting game of all time in those terms. There is so much single player content in Soul Calibur 3. So if you got a hankering, once again, December 16th. But then again, the other question on mind is why, right? If you're going to do a re-release of the old game, make sure it works on a modern system and add, just a little bit of touch-ups to it. What are you doing with that? Why now? Like, why not a long time ago? Or frankly, why ever? At bare minimum, take this as a sign that Bandai Namco remembers Soul Calibur exists, because they sure haven't for a long time. And I don't know, we got to take it in the realm of speculation, I guess, right? This in and of itself doesn't mean anything, doesn't guarantee nothing, right? But you got to think it doesn't mean nothing either, right? At absolute bare minimum, presenting this very old game on a modern system is good for just the franchise as a whole, because there's no legal way to play this right now unless you just have the PS2 version. Good for preservation and good for a whole new audience to kind of see this game as it was. Like, competitively, this wasn't the go-to Soul Calibur, to be honest. Soul Calibur 2 kind of still holds that crown. But, like I said, again, there was so much great single-player content in this game. Like, if you're bored, you got nothing else to do, man, like, at least, like, pick this up. You'll have some fun. That's what I'm trying to say. And take it as that there is some signs of life in the Soul Calibur franchise. They're not just letting it rot. Maybe a sign they might do the same for Soul Calibur 4 in the future, although probably not with the guest characters because the Star Wars license is a nightmare. But as it stands, you cannot buy Soul Calibur 4. And actually, Soul Calibur 5, you can't buy it either, right? So 4 and 5, because of the guest characters, I guess they just got to pull them from the stores. So if we're doing 3, maybe 4 and 5 in the future without those guest characters. And of course, I know the one y'all want is the Soul Calibur 7, an all-new entry in the franchise. And we'll see. At minimum, Soul Calibur 3 on PSN speaks well for the franchise. I can't guarantee you there's going to be a new game anytime soon, although I do feel there will be a new game eventually. The franchise is simply too popular to let sit on ice forever. But for now, we'll take this and hope well for the future. And now, coming back around to Marvel Tokon. So, Marvel Tokon, if you saw the recent video on the channel, we talked about the EVO big reveals for what games are going to be at EVO this year. And lots of cool games on here. We got Virtual Fighter, we got Darkstalkers, Blaze Blue, Invincible Versus is going to be showing up, right? So lots of cool games here, and they're all main games, no sideshow games. But there is a decided lack of Marvel Tokon. So what does this mean? Well, specifically, like we just mentioned Invincible. Invincible's there. Therefore, the logic would be Invincible Versus is going to be out by the time that EVO happens, so sometime in June. That's like the latest it'd be out. If Marvel Tokon is not there, considering, it's the next big Arc System Works game, it's a big title. Like, it's not like it's too small for EVO. It's a huge deal, right? But if it's not there, then it's not going to be ready for EVO. And decidedly will not be out by June. So that means this game can be out potentially later than people thought. They're still aiming for 2026. They haven't said differently yet anyways. There's always a chance they can make an announcement tomorrow, then game's delayed. But myself and quite a few other people, we all thought that this game was kind of a done deal, like ready to launch by EVO. It has the Sony publisher. Maybe Sony doesn't own EVO anymore, but they're still a major advertiser. This seemed like a pretty sure bet for EVO, and if it's not here, that means it's just plain not going to be out in time. Now, that said, there's a potential upside to this. We talked about it in a recent video, but some of the community opinion on Marvel Tokon is maybe not the best right now. I personally don't think it's as bad as someone's going to say, but it's certainly not all good press. So if you're going to still launch next year, but your game's not ready for EVO specifically, take as long as you can get, basically. Make sure your game is the best game it can be. Basically launch in December or something like that. Marvel Tokon, Arc System Works has stated they're going to give this game 10 years of support. That's a pretty big investment. And with that in mind, you want the best product you can have out of the gate. Sure, if it's going to be around for 10 years, there's going to be a lot of changes and all that kind of stuff over time. But it certainly don't hurt to start with your best foot forward on this. I'm very positive there's a lot more to be said on the Marvel Tokon front in terms of official announcements. Maybe even soon, maybe even later today. The Game Awards is today. We will see on that front, I suppose. But yeah, not being at EVO is just a giant red flashing sign that this game is not out by summer, basically. That they are gonna wait and release it sometime later in 2026. And as far as I'm concerned, take as long as you need. Don't rush this. Everyone wants this game to do well. We want our Marvel fighting game to be good, right? Even the folk who may not have a current high opinion of the game, they certainly want it to shape up in whatever way they hope in the end, right? So take as long as you need, we'll be waiting. We don't need you right away at EVO if you're not ready. And don't do something silly like launch 2 weeks after EVO, because that'd just be some nonsense. But yeah, so just a bunch of small news bits. I figured to put them all together in one video. Game Awards again later today as of the time of this video going live. And whatever happens at the Game Awards, I'll be sure to cover it in depth and in detail. So stay tuned to the channel. And that all said, that's it for the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play some fighting games.
Yeah.